Hey guys, this is Faiza Iqbal. I'm a professional hair and makeup artist of 5 years. Today we are joined by Sadaf Shahzad. She is a content strategist of 8 years, and we are going to talk about how you can acquire clients through various platforms. So let's hear it from Sadaf Shahzad. Hello, Sadaf. How are
Hi
you?
Fiza, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Okay, so would you like to tell about yourself a little bit to our viewers? What do you do?
Basically, I'm a freelancer. So I've worked full time and part time, and then I decided to become a freelancer. So, as you guys know, when you are a freelancer, you have to do everything by yourself. When you work for a company, they find their own clients, they promote themselves, they handle their own, they have in house teams for all these kind of content strategy and stuff. But they can also outsource people, and that's where I come in. So businesses that have in-house teams, they can outsource me, and businesses that don't have any in-house teams can also hire me because I'm a freelancer. And I normally work on like a project basis, but sometimes I do work part-time for a couple of months. And right now I have just started working part-time again for a
That
company.
that's great. That's great. Thank you so much for such a brief introduction. So I would like to start this conversation of ours by discussing various social media platforms. Which platform, in your opinion, what do you think? Which platform is the best these days for freelancers to, to acquire clients? Where can they find their clients?
So I think there are some freelancing platforms that may be restricted to certain niches. For instance, I think it might be difficult for you as a makeup artist to find work on Upwork because unless it's in within Pakistan or you're willing to travel, so Upwork or maybe even Fiverr might not be the best space for you. But uh, the one place that I think is best for all kinds of freelancers is LinkedIn. And that's where I get the majority of my clients. But that doesn't mean that it's the only like place where you can get clients, and that we will explain more when we talk about how to acquire clients.
Right. So you think LinkedIn is the best platform for everybody, right? But in my experience, I have not seen that many beauty experts, makeup artists on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, in my opinion, works better for corporates, for content writers, content strategists like yourself, and especially HR people. I feel, people who are talent hunters, headhunters. I feel they are making good use of LinkedIn. But as far as a beauty expert, hair and makeup artist is concerned, I feel I don't see that much representation there. What do you
That's
think about
true.
that?
That's true because depending on how visual your work is, there are better platforms like Instagram. Um, I mean, there are other platforms like some people use TikTok and Snapchat. So it depends on maybe your branding. You know, some people work well. Their branding matches TikTok or Snapchat. But I think Instagram is considered more professional, you could say.
Yeah. Now, these days, that is considered more professional. Okay, so let's not restrict ourselves to just one platform. I want that our viewers, our listeners, they get they get maximum benefit from this conversation, and I want that everybody can extract something from this. So what do you think is the best way to network on social media platforms?
Well, first of all, if you're trying to use any social media platform, either for content strategies or networking, you need to use the native features. Every platform has its own like business account. Like Instagram has a business account, LinkedIn has some paid marketing. Like there are definitely options. So you should study your platform. And even places like Upwork also has like they take a fee even if your account is free, but there is a like a paid version as well. So look for paid versions definitely.
Right. So talking about networking, what do you think are your top 5 tips? What would you like for people to know from your 8 years of experience? How should they network? Like, I'm not going to say how can they network. I'm saying how should they network? What are the things that they should follow, and what are the things they should not follow?
Well, first of all, networking is just, it's a lot like marketing. So I think you should be aware of who your target is. So for instance, if I'm a content writer, uh, there are many job positions I'm not going to be interested in. There are people who are not going to be interested in my services. But there are people in HR, people in marketing, people who are developers, people who are SEO experts, and people who are other content creators, writers, as well as businesses in the niches that I work in. Those are the people I will try to network with. So that's the first thing you should do. You should know who your target is. And then you should be aware of the etiquettes of every platform as well. LinkedIn is by far the most professional platform out of all of these, I think. Besides Upwork and Fiverr, like those are pretty different, you know. It's a very direct thing. But LinkedIn is a bit more indirect, and Instagram and all of these, they're not as professional. They just grew to be more professional, especially for people who have more visual based content. So um, you should definitely, like I said, know about the native features. So LinkedIn allows you to send 100 connection requests every week. So LinkedIn is, I think, the easiest to go for anyone. If you are active on LinkedIn, if you are engaging with people, if you are sending connection requests, if you are posting regularly, and you are commenting using the hashtags that you have on your profile. There are 5 hashtags everyone has on their profile. If you're doing all of that, then you should be going pretty fast. So these are some of the things you should know about, and then we come to communication.
So we know the first important step to acquiring clients anywhere on any platform is by starting to network with other people, right? So what do you think are the most important things that one should keep in their mind? Uh, your top 5 tips from your work experience. What do you think people should do uh, to network effectively with other people, and what are the things that they should not do, things they should do and things they should avoid?
Well, I think first of all, you need to approach people, and you need to approach them in multiple ways. So let's say, like, every platform has a community for its niche, and they sometimes have hashtags, like special hashtags for their community. For instance, the community of writers, both fiction and like content and professional writers on Instagram, they use writers community. And I've seen this hashtag on other platforms as well. So the first thing you should do for networking is to look for these hashtags. Like Instagram, like on Instagram, your reach is not about
Mm-hmm.
hashtags anymore, but
Oh,
hashtags are
is that true?
really, yes, that is true. So your hashtags are really good for networking. So what you do is you see who's using them and you connect with them, you send them a DM. You know, no matter what platform you're on, just make sure you write a professional message, introduce yourself.
Yeah,
So the first thing is to connect with people. You can find them through hashtags on LinkedIn. There is a
yeah,
way to like do it better because you know on LinkedIn you can actually search people by position. So you can search, for example, marketing specialist, and
yeah,
you'll get a pretty good idea of who to target because you see LinkedIn is customized for networking and other apps are
yeah,
not,
yeah,
right? So you should know the etiquette and the native features of all these different apps. For instance, there is a pretty good thing about Instagram. You can collaborate with people and you can name them as collaborators in your posts. So that's
yeah,
a pretty good thing. But if you're collaborating with other people, or whether you want to get in touch with other people, you can also tag them on different platforms. This works for every platform. So that's the
right.
second thing. The third thing is interacting with people's content. So you
Mm-hmm.
should definitely like and comment and not just say nice work or stuff like that. That doesn't work. If you want to make meaningful connections with people, you need to write something meaningful and don't make it all about yourself. When you're networking with
Yeah,
people, make it about them and don't
yeah,
sound desperate.
yeah,
You know, especially when you're connecting with peers, you know, and
yeah,
seniors in the industry. Besides that, so for LinkedIn, LinkedIn has 5 hashtags that everyone can choose for their profile in the creator mode. So you should look for people in those hashtags and interact with people in those hashtags by commenting, liking, and sharing as well. But don't just
yeah.
share something, write your own insights as well when you share something. And I guess, yeah, I think that,
That goes, so that goes for any platform. I think even if we are sharing something on Instagram, if we are sharing someone else's post or someone else's story, and we are not, we are not adding our words to that, so it doesn't make any sense. What is it doing lying in your story? What's that other person's post doing in your story? Like, do you have something to say about it? If you have something to say about it, then write that. Because eventually that person will see that story as well. When you share, if someone shares my work to their story, then I will be notified of that, na? if
yes.
i'm being if I'm being notified of that, then I would like to see what that person has to say about my work.
Yes, and this connects to what we were talking about the other day, which was my last point, which is if you're meeting people offline, working with them offline, remember to connect with them online. Or if you're
Yeah.
connecting with people on one platform, connect with them on other platforms as well. Because
Yes.
most people don't post the same content on every platform, and not
Yes.
everyone is super active on every platform.
Yeah.
So don't miss those opportunities.
Yeah. And I feel we really underappreciate, or um, what I actually want to say is, connecting with people offline, networking with people offline, with your peers, with your, even your seniors or other professionals. I feel now it's very underrated. People don't even consider that. They're like adding people there to their social media platform, but they're not making any effort towards knowing them offline, because they have no idea how much that helps. You know, then
Yeah.
eventually you don't have to then like every other post by that person, every other,
Yes.
you don't have to comment on every other post that person is, putting out there. If you know them offline, then that is networking on another level. That's what I feel. What do you say about that?
There's something that I want to say, but it's slipped my mind when we were talking about. Yes, and when you like the key to good networking, in my opinion, is to be memorable. See,
Yeah,
you should be memorable. And the second most important thing, I think, is to make sure that you're just working in your niche. Don't waste your time on, don't waste your professional time on people you're not, going to benefit professionally
yeah,
from, or you have nothing to offer. You can,
yeah,
interact with them socially, but don't waste your professional time on those people.
yeah. Okay, so moving forward, I would like to know from you, what are the things, because when we are networking with people, we are writing, we are talking, and the use of language is there. So what are the things that people should be aware of while communicating with peers or seniors, things they should avoid? What are those things in your opinion?
Not just peers and seniors, but also your clients, your prospective clients, your target audience. Um, just think about ads and the language they use, and think about the language that salespeople use with you. You know, uh,
Yeah,
who would you like to listen to? Who would you be annoyed by? Because
yeah,
we receive this very common complaint, especially since we both enjoy beauty, right? So if you're walking into a makeup store and the sales girls are being pushy, you're not going to like that. You know,
yeah,
they're not thinking about your time, they're just thinking about making a commission. So that attitude is not good. And whenever you watch an ad, any ad, they make it about you. That's what
yeah,
marketing is. So make sure that there's a balance. And it's not just that, what, and like we connected to this before, don't be desperate. Don't sound desperate. Don't make it all about you, but also don't make it all about them. Keep a
yeah,
balance. And there is a really big difference between being professional and having a casual conversation with someone. So you should never, um, like nowadays, things have become kind of semi formal, but this is because I think we're on social media. But when corporate people do business communication, they probably do it a bit more formally. They have more legal
yeah.
requirements and stuff
But
as well.
yeah, but for us, for social media, that semi-formal language is sort of formal language. You know,
Yes, it is formal for
it is
us,
it is
especially
it is formal for
freelancers.
us. Yeah, it is formal for us, and we can easily tell apart the casual talk, and the semi-formal professional talk. You can easily tell that apart.
So
And
the
there are
problem with,
certain,
yeah, like I was just going to briefly summarize your point. The problem with freelancers, a lot of them, is that they've never worked in a company. So they don't
yeah.
understand what professionalism is, or what business communication
Exactly,
is.
exactly. I have felt this a lot. I have felt this with people who have started off as freelancers, or who have worked for like a very brief time in a company, but now they're freelancing. So their level of professionalism, their ways of dealing with people, they're very different. And to be honest, they annoy me at times. They annoy me because I have worked in not in just one company. I have worked in, like when I was a content writer back in the day, I did not start that as a freelancer. You know that as well. I started with a company, right? When I got into beauty, when I got into this field professionally, I did not start that as a freelancer. I started that with a company. Then I switched another company. Now I am a freelancer, right? Now I'm, offering my services as well, and I'm working for those companies as well. So I know what it takes to be, a professional, what your standards of operation should be. But you're right, sadly those freelancers who have not worked in any company at all, they don't know that.
The interesting part is that you and I worked for the same company for a brief period of time, and we maintained that professionalism between us, even though we were friends for like
Yeah.
4 5 years. So even if you're working with people you already know, don't be casual, because I think you have to really draw the line between friends and family or acquaintances.
Yes. Yes.
Dealing with them in that relationship versus dealing with
Yeah.
them in a professional relationship. And as we were
Yeah.
talking about this the other day, if you're unprofessional, people are going to take advantage of you. People you
Yes.
actually know and trust. So don't do that.
But you see, that happens with your clients. People who are actually going to be your clients, they won't take you seriously if you're not professional. But now this is another thing that we can actually talk about. When you work with people who you know already, non-professionally, your friends, your family, that could be anybody. When you try to deal with them professionally, because now it's about your work, then even 90% of the times I feel they can't digest it. They just can't, for some
That's
reason, I
not
don't know.
that's not your problem. You should be professional. Don't worry about other people being unprofessional. If someone is unprofessional with you, that doesn't mean you should just take off your professionalism cover. You should never ever do that, because you have to care about your reputation.
Yes.
Because people talk, and this
Yeah.
matters. And recommendations
Yeah.
are extremely important when it
Yeah.
comes to freelancing, because you don't have a company that's just going to
Yeah.
hand you work. You're on your own.
Okay, so going back to networking and sending people messages, what do you think is an appropriate way of starting the conversation? Like, I want you to talk about, choice of words, the words you think they should not be using, the words you think they can use.
Um, so hello, hi, and hey are fine, but I think you should try to take the name of the person.
Hmm.
Always, it makes a really big difference when you take someone's name, because they're like, oh, this person knows my name. Especially when you're connecting with someone for the first time, it
Yeah.
kind of, you remember the person who took your name, or like even said something about your work. So
Yeah.
remember, I said don't just make it about yourself. You should definitely talk about their work, especially if you've connected with someone. Like, let's say you've complimented someone's work in a comment, and now you want to like build a relationship. You're going to DM them, refer to that work. Like, oh, I saw that work, it was great, and I do this. Uh,
Yeah.
Build a story, like, should share something relevant. Because if I say, Fiza, it's really hot today, you might say, I really want to eat ice cream. You're not going to say, I read Harry Potter today. It doesn't make
Yeah. Makes
sense.
sense. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Totally. Okay, so while we are on the topic of communication, what do you think are the red flags? What do you think are red flags that people should be aware of while they are in a professional communication or networking situation?
So we just talked about how to address people. That's the correct way to address people. There is a terrible way to address people, using words like dear, yaar in Urdu, or like
I hate
buddy,
I hate the word dear. I hate it.
calling
I
them
don't like.
dude, or
Yeah.
like my guy. Like, don't be overly friendly with people like that. That's not nice.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, people don't consider these words, rude or unprofessional. That is the thing. I've been telling so many people. Actually, I don't tell them directly on the face, of course, that don't call
I
me
do.
dear.
I do.
I don't. I just ignore it. But it's annoying. It's very annoying. I mean, don't call me dear. I'm not your dear.
I don't
I'm
talk
not
to
your dear.
people. I don't talk to people who write words like these.
Yeah.
And
Simple as that.
the second red flag would be timing, especially if
Yeah.
you've already mentioned your timing. If you haven't mentioned your timing, please mention your timing in your like website or like about me or somewhere so that people know. Just pin that post or something.
That's fine, but if two people are sharing the same time zone, is that not a given that one should not be sending the other person messages at 1 a.m, at 2 a.m? I mean, how
This
clever is that? It's so
that
stupid.
I would like to say this doesn't apply to LinkedIn. I think you shouldn't expect a response, but you can. People are awake like very late night on LinkedIn and they do accept requests and stuff. But I don't recommend networking so late at night, but you can definitely send requests and accept requests and wait till morning to like interact with them.
But even telling somebody that they will talk about work in the morning, at night, does
No,
not make
don't
sense.
send that message. Just
I
reply
have
in the morning.
No, no, I have had such experiences where people have been sending me messages that, oh, we'll talk about this, or I am here, or I am there, or let's do this. Or, I mean, please look at your clock.
Which brings us to our next red flag. Don't try to date
Wait,
during your professional networking situation. Don't do it, especially
oh,
on
I have,
LinkedIn. Don't
oh,
harass people.
I have had those experiences as well on LinkedIn. People added me, and then they were like,
I have received marriage proposals on LinkedIn from
oh
uncles
wow,
for their sons.
and you're still single. Oops.
Thank God. If this is what people are like.
No, but this is so. I don't know why people are so desperate. LinkedIn is for
I don't
one thing
think
good
it's
at.
about desperation. I think people just don't care about the rules of the platform that you're on, and don't use I would say don't use your professional account for personal communication. Just keep that separate. That would be best.
Yeah, but what people should be aware of is, if you are on LinkedIn, then that's equivalent to you being in a or in your office, right? So you won't be hitting on somebody in your office. You won't be hitting on your colleague. You won't be telling them, would you marry me, in an
I
office.
mean, there are ways to do that, and you need to know your company policy, but this is very inappropriate. And you can get reported. People
Yeah,
can easily report you for harassment. So why are you doing this?
yeah.
What else do you think is a red flag?
What else do I think is a red flag? Uh, I think we have covered majority of those, but
You mentioned
yeah, for me,
something about
oh, oh, oh,
how
oh,
they
oh, yes.
communicate.
No, no, yes, 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 yes. To me, if somebody follows me on Instagram, then they're like, going on a rampage of liking every post I've posted ever on my profile. I mean, how creepy would it get?
There's this thing, like there were groups where people had this follow for follow thing, So that
That's a
doesn't
very old
work, and don't do it. Yeah,
that
it
that
doesn't work
that
anymore.
that's a very old thing. But even if somebody is following me, that's fine. But then don't go on my profile and like every other post I've done. Every other picture I've posted, every other video I've posted. Don't do that. Even if somebody is doing that, then that would automatically tell me that something is wrong. Who in their right mind would do that?
I
I
think
think nobody.
this brings us to something important before we move on to our last red flag. You shouldn't be looking outdated in your business communication and your networking. So, like I said, we used to have follow for follow groups and stuff like that for growing, but they're outdated. So, people who use these kind of tactics that annoy you, liking and everything, they're using something really outdated, and they're just outing themselves as being unprofessional and not up to date with the algorithm, especially now that Instagram has removed has brought the option of removing your likes,
Yeah.
like hiding your likes. So why would you
Yes.
do that? you know
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think it's also because Instagram knows that when you want to make a meaningful connection with someone, it's about having a meaningful conversation, whether it's in your comments or your DMs, or whether you're sharing something with your insight. I mean, what kind of meaningful connection is liking just people's? Like, how is that meaningful? How are you memorable?
That's like looking at somebody from behind a tree
And expecting them to
to
like
notice you.
talk, not to notice you, but to like date you or like marry
Yeah.
you. Like, do you remember? I like it's like these kind of people are like that cousin, that cousin who keeps staring at you all the time but never really talks to you, and then in the end you marry someone else, and that cousin is like, oh, I've been in love with you for so long, all these years, why didn't you marry me?
Just in your head.
Sorry,
The communication is all happening here.
it's not real.
The communication is all happening here.
It's a fantasy. Don't live in fantasy. Always be practical. And let's come to our last red flag. It's business communication has a format. When you start a conversation, it should have a beginning, middle, and end. Say hello, like hello, Fiza. How are you? I saw your post. It was great. And I did something similar. And I was wondering if you'd like to collab with me sometime. Looking forward to hearing from you. Regards, Sadaf. That's how a first conversation, a conversation starter should be like. So now, when
Hmm.
Fiza responds to me, she's going to reply to all of the questions I asked, and then we can
Yeah.
move on to sending each other like maybe one-liners or links, because now we have established a communication. But when we want to like end the communication, for the time being, we should like say, oh, I've got to go, or I'm busy, just like schedule something.
Which now brings us to how we can pitch our services to potential clients. What do you think? Like you just mentioned that your message should have a starting body and then an ending part, right? So how do you think people should besides this, how do you think people should pitch their services to other clients on social media?
Well, you can mention something that you've seen. For instance, this content marketer, she sent me a message. She was like, I saw that your reach wasn't that great. I can help you with that. That's a really good way of like connecting your services with the need of your prospective client. So that's pretty good if you do that. But besides that, it's pretty much the same. When we talk about not being desperate, don't make it all about yourself. And I think you should never just randomly ask for work.
Yeah.
Don't do that to people, even to HR people. Just like send them a short intro in your message, and always send links to your portfolio or a project. And when you customize your message for someone, try to match the niche, because they're more
Yeah.
likely to like hire you for that. Or if someone has mentioned, like if you're interested in building a relationship with someone and they've posted job openings, you should look into that, look into that.
What do you think about not even if somebody wants to collaborate with someone, what do you think about not asking for collaboration in your first message? I think you shouldn't do that. I think you should, first start up a conversation, build a communication. Then maybe in your second, third, or fourth message, you ask or for a collaboration on, on mutual grounds. What do you think about that? Or should one just send messages for collaboration to anybody they want to?
I think you should be straight to the point. And like I said in my sample message, you can express the desire for a collaboration if you don't already have a collaboration planned. But don't waste people's time with all of these things. Just another important thing which we missed in business communication, always state your purpose in your first message. Do that. Don't
Okay.
send, people send me hi. What am I
That does
supposed to
not
do
make.
with that?
Just wait for the next message, I guess, which
I don't
eventually
reply
will.
to them. I don't care.
But yeah, I don't reply to, even I don't reply to highs. I don't reply to that. Does not make any sense. What am I supposed to do with your hi? Speak up, you know? Yeah, if I talk about myself, because I'm a makeup artist, right? So I have to be the first person at times, approaching people, approaching brands, approaching maybe influencers for collaboration. So what I do is I have this formatted message that I've saved. I begin with, just like you said, I begin with the starting point. Hi, whatever the name of that person is. Then I tell them about who I am, what I do, what my experience is, where my expertise lie. Then I also touch upon my portfolio, what my portfolio contains, because if I know why I am contacting that person, because ultimately their work is somewhere in my portfolio, something they might be interested in to look at. That's what I do. Then I add my Instagram portfolios URL, and then I finish it off with my, thank you so much, see you around, talk more, talk soon, and my name. That's what I do.
So let's say I'm a fashion brand, like a new fashion brand. So I'm probably advertising myself. So it goes to reason that I might need a makeup artist, right? So
Yeah.
when you are looking for people to connect with, you will
Yeah.
definitely be looking at fashion brands. So
Yes.
how would our conversation go if we don't really have any prior connection? Let's say I'm the marketing manager of a fashion brand. How would you
Yeah.
approach
Okay.
it?
So I usually start by sending a very brief but complete message. Like I would start with hi and the person's name. Then I would go on by introducing myself, what I do, how many years I've worked, then some major companies and brands that I worked for. I would add that. Then I also make sure that I touch upon the fact that what kind of work is in my portfolio, because I have done various kind of works. Not just bridal. I'm not just a bridal makeup artist. I've done beauty. I've done editorial. I've done commercial work. So I touch upon each category. Then I leave my URL. my Instagram URL that has my entire information on how anybody can contact me for work. So I do that. Then now this is important. I feel that I shouldn't be saying just thank you and write my name down there. The line that I write is like talk to you soon, looking forward to hearing from you. Then I write my name, because that gives the implication that I am waiting, and it sort of puts a responsibility on the other person to respond, because they now because they are a professional brand, they can't just ignore that message, right? Even if they have seen it, they can't just ignore it. That's unprofessional, right? I can see that they have seen the message, so they must reply. So that uh, you know uh, writing that line that I'm looking forward to hearing from you, that automatically puts some sort of responsibility on the other person, that now they will get back to you. So
There's
this is
another,
how a conversation.
yeah, I was just going to like add another good option. It's I'm excited to see what we can come up with together. Excited to see what
Yeah,
comes out of our collaboration. Something like that is
yeah,
also pretty good.
yeah, yeah. I think that is better actually. That is better actually, because that just goes on to show the other person that you're not just randomly sending that message to everybody. You actually care about communicating and talking to that person, and they will reciprocate that.
Okay, so I might say, uh, hi Fiza, hope you're well. Thank you for sending over your portfolio.
Yeah,
And then I might say, we don't really have any projects right now, but we're thinking of a shoot for next season. Could you please send me some samples that you have done that match our brand image, or like
yeah,
samples that you have done for similar fashion brands? Or I might show you
yeah.
like I might refer to something like, have you done any work that's similar to our most recent campaign? I might
Yeah.
ask you that.
Yeah, then I can send over those specific images from my portfolio. Now, this is important. I should not be sending them everything. If I have a one digital file of my entire portfolio, I should not be sending them, that entire file. That might contain bridal images, that might contain editorial images, because those are useless to them, right? So what I do is I send them those specific images that might be of help to them. Then if they have asked for my rates, then what I can do is, what
I
I do
haven't
is
asked for
that,
your rates.
okay,
I'm the fashion brand. So there's something else you can do. Your portfolio should always be divided into categories. So I think it's really
yeah,
unprofessional to send people images or documents. I mean, if you really need to, you can always send them in a zip folder. But especially when you're doing this on like social media, it's a very awkward thing. You should definitely move to email. So links are really great for that, you know. And while they're at on your website, maybe they can check out some other stuff, or maybe you have a chance to impress them. They see
yeah,
more work. So I
yeah.
think you should divide it into categories and send them links.
Yeah,
That
that's
one
what
link.
Yeah, that's what I said, now that I won't be sending them my entire portfolio. It should be divided. I should send them the images that work for them, which also brings us to the importance of having a website, because your content on your website is already divided, right? But people who don't have website, who don't afford having one at any point, they can also they can also have those their images, their portfolio divided into certain folders in their system, and
I
they can just
disagree. I
over
think
that.
everyone, I think if you cannot buy a domain, you can at least you can still have a website. You can still have a portfolio that ends with .wordpress.com, .wix.com, but you should have it. You
Yeah.
should have
Okay.
links that you can send to someone. Like, let's suppose
Yeah.
this exchange is happening over Instagram. What are you going to
Yeah.
do? Sending me images?
The
Like,
people,
that
yeah,
makes no
people
sense.
should not, yeah, people should not be needing to download your images. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, like that's so weird. That's so
Yeah.
unprofessional, and it's also inconvenient. You should always create convenience for someone you're trying to pitch to. So
Yeah,
the
you're right.
next step,
You're right.
I might be like thanks for sending the link, Huza. And they look good. So can I please know about your rates?
Yeah, then I would send you my, the rate list that I've put together. Then I would send you that. And this also brings me to the point that it's very important for everybody, for every freelancer to have their rates already written down. You should not be, you should not be typing that message right away to send it to anybody. Have have your rates already set and written in a template and saved in your device. So, whenever anybody asks, it's just one click away. Just press one button and send your entire rate list to that person.
That works for some niches. It doesn't work for like every industry, because in my case, like sometimes people ask for quotations. They're like, create us a like make an entire quotation for us. I've done this, and clients have not gotten back to me even after my effort. That is rude. But you not like you should always try to get the best deal. So you should pitch a rate that is reasonably expensive. Like, don't cheapen yourself by putting something that is not a match for your experience or your qualifications, something that doesn't match your portfolio. Because if you pitch a rate that is way too low, you look fishy, and you don't really have, it doesn't like increase your chances of getting hired.
Yeah,
So make sure your
you're
rate
right.
is reasonable.
Yeah, this is very true. I have had one client who told me that she rejected this other makeup artist simply because her rates looked too low to her. And I thought I was hearing something else, but then she was like, no, she wasn't charging much. I expected her to charge more, but that was not her rate. So I was like, no, I don't want to hire you because that did not sound good to her. And that was interesting for me. I was like, okay, then because I have been very conscious about my rates, and I've been very conscious about, and this is one thing that I really struggled with ever since. But now I've gotten over it a lot, uh, because I used to think that I should offer as low as I can, so I can acquire that client. But
It
turned
doesn't
out that
work
was
that
not,
way.
no, it never worked. It never worked because I realized no matter how less I quoted, I would always end up on a negotiation table. Always. And when I quoted less, that actually never worked in my favor. Never,
Yeah,
it never.
it doesn't.
The other person always had an upper hand on negotiation.
Yeah, because this is such an important thing, we'll have an entire discussion just about negotiation and how to set your rates as a freelancer. Moving forward, what if I didn't find your rates, like maybe they were out of budget? I'll
Yeah,
just explain how you should like what would a professional client say to you? Someone who is
yeah,
professional, someone who is worth your time and
yeah,
energy.
yeah,
They should never reject you like, oh my god, your rates are so high. If someone says that,
yeah,
just say bye.
yeah.
Because
They're
no
not.
one should be no one should tell you how high or
Yeah,
low your rates are. the appropriate
Yes.
response would be, thank you for your time, but unfortunately, your rates are currently out of our budget. So thank you and goodbye. I would just say that. And I have had people say that to me.
I have had people telling me like I can't even reenact that expression and that tone, you know. Oh my god, you're so expensive, I did not expect this, you're charging so much. But now turns out that that rate which I used to quote is actually low. I should be charging double of that. That's the industry standard for me, you know.
So let's since we are on the topic, why don't we throw around a couple of rates just for fun, because we're wrapping up this conversation. This is our last question. So
Okay.
as a
You're
makeup
not getting,
artist,
and are we acquiring any clients?
well, if
Are you
because
hiring me for work after
that,
this?
I mean, that, well, we just
No, you are a
wrap
fashion
it.
brand. You should hire. You are a fashion brand. Are you hiring me for work?
If they like it, because when people ask you your rate, it's because they like your work. So
Yeah,
the happy ending would have been we would have gotten hired,
yeah,
uh, and the sad ending is what we enacted for you, the rejection
yeah.
part. So
Rejection,
I
but rejection, but
with
the other kind
respect.
of rejection. OMG, you're so expensive.
Yeah, I mean
That's the
it's
sad.
sad. It's sad, but still,
That is the sad ending. Rejection is not a sad ending. This is the sad ending. Oh my God, you're so expensive.
That's
If
true.
if somebody respectfully tells me that I am out of their budget, then that's completely fine. That's completely fine.
Yeah. And if you're just I missed something important. If you are, especially if you're a writer or something like a graphic designer or developer, and you're pitching your services to a digital marketing agency or a marketer, they're working for a client, they need you for a client. Maybe their current project and the current client um, doesn't have the budget to hire you, but they might hire you for a future client if they like your work.
Yeah, yeah,
So when
yeah,
someone asks you
definitely.
for your rate, that should be the first question they ask you after seeing your work. If they ask
Yes.
you, there's a good chance that you will get hired unless you are just out of their budget. So always
Yeah.
only pitch to people, especially when you're pitching, it's okay to network with people you may never work with, but they're in the same
Sure.
niche, because it really opens up recommendations and stuff. Or you get to share industry knowledge. It's not always
Mhm.
about making money. Everything, because knowledge is power, and it's great. The it's a really There's this really important thing that I've heard from experts. They say you should always give your best advice for free. So instead of acquiring clients through pitching, the alternative is to create a great content strategy that will pull them to you. They're going to be coming in your DMs. So
Yeah.
you should
Share your
work on your
share
content
your
strategy.
share, yeah, share your best knowledge publicly. Thank you so much, Sadaf, for sharing your knowledge with us for all this insightful conversation. It was really helpful. I learned a lot of things today, which I did not know, and I'm sure people who are watching us, they will also benefit from this.
Mm. Well, thank you for having me. And for those of you who don't know, we already had this conversation and it didn't record, so we're doing this for the second time. Dedication. Okay, now we're
What can
leaving.
we do?
It's midnight and I'm hungry and we're leaving, and Fiza needs to sleep, so we're going bye.
Yeah, okay. We'll see you again. We'll see you
We'll
in
see you
another
again.
session. Yeah,
Yes.
perfect. Okay, see you. Bye bye.